The massive gates of the Celestara Prime Palace stood silent under twin moons. Guards in silver armor patrolled the perimeter as they had for centuries, watching for threats that never came. Tonight would be different. A flash of blue light erupted in the courtyard. Soldiers rushed forward with weapons raised, expecting an attack. Instead, they found a woman standing between the ancient pillars. She wore torn clothing that mixed earth denim with Zinthara fabric. Her silver hair marked her as nobility, but her face was weathered by years of hardship. In each hand, she held a small child. The woman looked up at the palace towers with tears streaming down her face. She had not seen these walls in 12 years. 12 years of hiding. 12 years of loving a man from another world. 20 years of raising children who should never have existed. "I am Princess Valara," she called out in a voice that cracked with emotion. "Daughter of Queen Thessera, I have come home." The guards froze. Everyone in the Empire knew the story of Princess Valara. Her ship had vanished during a diplomatic mission. Search parties found nothing. The Empire had mourned. Her mother had wept for months. Finally, they built a memorial and accepted she was gone forever. Yet here she stood. The little girl beside her squeezed her mother's hand tighter. Emma was 6 years old, with dark curly hair and brown eyes that watched everything carefully. She did not understand the language the guards spoke, but she knew they were scared. She could feel it somehow, like a tickle in her mind. "Mama, why are they pointing those things at us?" Emma whispered. "They are just surprised, sweetheart," Valara answered in English, then switched to Zinthara to address the guards. "Lower your weapons, I mean no harm." The smaller boy, Jacob, pressed against his mother's leg. At 4 years old, he was shy around strangers. His blonde hair came from his father, but his eyes held flecks of silver that no human should have. He looked up at the tall guards and felt afraid. Commander Krell pushed through the circle of soldiers. He was old enough to remember Valara as a young woman, full of fire and questions about the universe. He stared at her face, searching for proof this was not some trick. "The princess had a birthmark," he said slowly, "on her left wrist, shaped like a crescent moon." Valara released Emma's hand long enough to pull back her sleeve. There on her wrist was the mark, exactly as he remembered. Krell dropped to one knee. Behind him, 50 soldiers did the same. "We must inform the queen immediately," he said. "She will want to see you." "These are my children," Valara said firmly. "They come with me. They are not prisoners. They are not specimens to study. They are my family." Krell's eyes shifted to the two small humans. His expression was difficult to read. Confusion mixed with something that might have been disgust, or might have been fear. "The queen will decide what happens to them," he said carefully. Within minutes, the entire palace was in chaos. Servants ran through hallways, spreading news that the lost princess had returned. Nobles gathered in clusters, whispering theories. The council was summoned for an emergency meeting. Ambassador Lyris arrived first. She had been Valara's teacher and friend before the disappearance. When she saw her former student standing in the entrance hall with 2 alien children, she stopped breathing for a moment. "Valara," she whispered, "by the stars, it is really you." They embraced while Emma and Jacob watched quietly. The boy was getting tired. It had been a long journey, and he did not understand why everything had to be so loud and bright. "I thought you were dead," Lyris said, pulling back to study her face. "We all did. What happened? Where have you been?" "Earth," Valara answered simply. "My ship crashed on Earth, in a place called Montana. I survived, but I could not send for help. The communication systems were destroyed." 12 years, Lyris said in disbelief. "You were stranded for 12 years among humans?" "Not stranded, living. I had a life there, Lyris. I had love." Before Lyris could respond, the great doors at the end of the hall opened. Queen Thessera entered, surrounded by her personal guard. She was tall and regal, with silver hair that flowed past her shoulders. Her eyes were the same shade as Valara's, a deep violet that seemed to glow in certain light. The queen stopped when she saw her daughter. For a moment, The most powerful woman in the empire looked like any mother who had lost a child and found them again. Her composure cracked. Tears filled her eyes. "Valara," she breathed. "Mother." They met in the center of the hall. The queen touched her daughter's face as if confirming she was real and not a dream. Then she pulled her into an embrace that spoke of years of grief finally released. Emma tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mama, who is that?" Valara knelt down to her daughter's level, switching back to English. "This is your grandmother, Emma. She is the queen of this world." Jacob peeked out from behind his mother to look at the tall woman with silver hair. She seemed nice, but everything here was so strange and different from home. Queen Thessera looked down at the children properly for the first time. Her expression shifted through several emotions: surprise, confusion, and then something softer. "These are human children," she said slowly. "These are your grandchildren," Valara corrected. "This is Emma, and this is Jacob. They are half human and half Zinthara. Their father was Daniel Martinez. He was a good man, the best man I ever knew. He died 2 years ago protecting us." The queen knelt down, lowering herself to the children's height. She studied their faces carefully. Emma stared back without fear. Jacob hid behind his sister. "Can they understand me?" the queen asked. "Not yet. They only speak English." "Then I will learn their language," Queen Thessera said firmly. She reached out slowly, giving Emma time to pull away if she wanted. When the girl did not move, she touched her cheek gently. "Welcome home, little ones. You are safe here." Emma might not have understood the words, but she felt the meaning. This woman was family. This woman would protect them. The moment broke when Lord Karthus entered the hall with several other council members. He was an older man with traditional views and a sharp tongue. "This is an outrage," he declared loudly. "The princess returns after abandoning her duties, and she brings human children to our palace. This is unacceptable." Other voices joined his. Some demanded answers. Some wanted the children removed. Some questioned whether Valara had the right to return at all. Queen Thessera stood slowly, and her presence commanded silence. "My daughter has returned from the dead," she said, her voice carrying through the hall. "That is what matters today. We will have time for questions and discussions, but tonight we celebrate that she lives. Any who cannot accept that may leave my presence now." No one moved. "Good," the queen continued. "Prepare rooms for the princess and her children. They will stay in the royal wing. Tomorrow we will begin understanding what happened and what comes next." As servants led them away, Emma looked back at the crowd of strange, alien people staring at them. She squeezed Jacob's hand. "It's going to be okay," she told her little brother, though she was not sure she believed it herself. That night, as the children slept in beds softer than any they had known on Earth, Jacob had a bad dream. He cried out in his sleep. Emma woke and went to him automatically, the way she always did when he was scared. She touched his forehead to comfort him, and something happened. A warm, golden light spread from her hand. Jacob's nightmare faded, his breathing calmed. But the light had been seen by a servant passing in the hallway. By morning, rumors would spread through the palace that the human children possessed abilities no child should have, and those rumors would change everything. The morning sun rose over Celestara Prime, casting purple light through the palace windows. Emma woke in a bed that felt like sleeping on a cloud. She sat up and looked around the enormous room. Everything was strange. The walls changed colors slowly, shifting from blue to green. The furniture seemed to float slightly above the floor. She missed home. She missed her small bedroom in Montana with posters of animals on the walls. She missed the smell of pine trees and the sound of her father's voice calling her for breakfast. Jacob was still asleep in the bed next to hers. He looked peaceful now, but Emma remembered the golden light from her hands last night. That had never happened before. It scared her a little. A soft knock came at the door. A servant entered carrying trays of food. She was young, with kind eyes, but she stared at the children like they were dangerous animals in a zoo. "Good morning, young ones," the servant said in Zinthara. Emma did not understand the word, but she understood the nervous tone. Their mother arrived moments later, already dressed in formal Zinthara robes. Valara looked tired. She had not slept well either. "How are you feeling?" she asked Emma in English. "When can we go home?" Emma replied. Valara sat on the edge of the bed and pulled her daughter close. "This is home now, sweetheart. Or at least, it is one of our homes. I know everything is different and scary, but we are safe here." "I do not like how people look at us," Emma said quietly. "Like we are weird." "You are special," Valara corrected gently. "That is different from weird. Special means extraordinary." Before Emma could respond, the door burst open. 3 people in white robes entered carrying strange devices. The leader was an older man with silver markings on his face. "I am Dr. Ven," he announced in Zinthara, then switched to broken English. "I must examine the children. The Queen commands it." Valara stood quickly, placing herself between the doctor and her children. "You will ask permission first, and you will explain everything you plan to do." Dr. Ven looked annoyed, but nodded. "There are reports that the boy displayed unusual abilities last night, healing light from his body. This should be impossible. Human DNA cannot mix with Zinthara DNA. We need to understand what they are." "They are my children," Valara said coldly. "That is what they are." "Of course, Princess, I meant no disrespect, but we must understand their biology, for their own safety." After much discussion, Valara agreed to let the doctors run tests. Emma held Jacob's hand as they were led to a medical facility deep in the palace. The room was filled with machines that hummed and beeped. Lights scanned their bodies. Needles took blood samples. Jacob cried, and Emma felt anger building in her chest. "Stop hurting him!" she shouted. Dr. Ven paused. "We are almost finished, child. Please be patient." But Emma could feel something. It was like knowing when a storm was coming before seeing clouds. She felt the doctor's curiosity, his excitement at studying something new. She felt the nurse's fear of them. She felt everything, and it was too much. "I said stop!" Emma screamed, and suddenly everyone in the room grabbed their heads in pain. They all felt what Emma felt, multiplied and overwhelming. The sensation ended as quickly as it started. Dr. Ven stared at Emma with wide eyes. "Remarkable," he whispered. "She can project emotions. She is an empath." "She is a 6-year-old girl who wants you to stop scaring her brother," Valara snapped. "Are you finished?" "For now," Dr. Ven agreed. "But Princess, you must understand. These children should not exist. Human and Zinthara genetics are completely incompatible. They cannot combine naturally. Yet here are 2 living, breathing impossibilities. Their DNA has merged in ways our best scientists cannot explain." Later that afternoon, Valara was summoned to face the Royal Council. She stood in the grand chamber where laws were made and justice delivered. Nobles sat in curved rows, all staring down at her. Queen Thesara sat on the high throne, her face unreadable. Lord Karthus spoke first. "Princess Valara, you abandoned your duties for 12 years. You lived among primitives. You violated our laws against unauthorized contact with developing species. And you produced hybrid offspring that may pose a danger to our people. What do you have to say for yourself?" Valara lifted her chin proudly. "I survived. I crashed on an unknown world with no way to call for help. I did what I had to do to stay alive. And yes, I fell in love. I married a human man who showed me more kindness in one day than some people in this room have shown in a lifetime. My children are not dangers. They are blessings." "The boy can heal with a touch," another council member argued. "The girl can invade minds. These are not normal abilities even for Zinthara children." "They are gifted," Valara countered. "That is not a crime." An older woman stood from the back rows. She wore robes that marked her as a noble of high rank. This was Lady Seraphine, someone Valara barely remembered from childhood. "There are old stories," Lady Seraphine said slowly. "Ancient prophecies that speak of star-born children. Children born of 2 worlds who would bridge the gap between species. Perhaps these children are meant to be. Lord Carthus laughed harshly. Fairy tales and superstition. I propose we send the children to a colony world where they can live quietly, away from our civilization, for everyone's safety. No, Queen Thessara said firmly. Her single word silenced the chamber. They are my grandchildren. They stay here where I can protect them. Your Majesty, with respect, you let emotion cloud your judgment, Lord Carthus pressed. These humans could be dangerous. The argument continued for hours. The children must be eliminated, someone said. It was Lord Carthus. They are abominations. That seems extreme, another voice answered. It sounded younger, uncertain. Prince Theron, listen to me carefully. Your sister has returned. If the Queen accepts her fully, she will reclaim her position as heir. You will lose everything. But if the children prove too dangerous, too problematic, the Queen will have to send Valara away. Then you remain secure as the heir to the throne. Emma's heart pounded. They wanted to hurt her family. She wanted to run and tell her mother, but she forced herself to stay quiet and listen. What do you propose? Prince Theron asked. I am arranging something, Lord Carthus said. An incident that will prove the children are dangerous. It will look like an accident, but it will force the Queen's hand. Emma ran back to their rooms as quietly as she could. She shook her mother awake and told her everything. Valara held her daughter close. You are so brave, she whispered. So brave to listen even though you were scared. What do we do, Mama? We prepare, Valara said, and we trust that your grandmother will protect us. But that night, as they tried to sleep, none of them knew that Lord Carthus had already set his plan in motion. In 3 days, there would be an assassination attempt, and when it came, Jacob's instinctive response would reveal just how powerful the children truly were, changing everything forever. In another part of the palace, Lady Seraphine sat with an ancient book. She read the old prophecies by candlelight, her fingers tracing words written thousands of years ago. 2 children born of distant stars shall be the bridge between worlds. They shall suffer and be rejected, but through their courage, many species shall find peace. She closed the book thoughtfully. Perhaps the children were not accidents after all. Perhaps they were exactly what the universe needed, arriving at exactly the right time, if they survived long enough to fulfill their purpose. 3 days passed quickly in the palace. Emma and Jacob tried to adjust to their new life, but everything felt wrong. The food tasted strange. The sounds were different. Even the air smelled wrong. Emma spent her time learning simple Zinthara words from a patient tutor, while Jacob mostly stayed quiet and watched everything with big, worried eyes. Their mother was busy attending meetings and trying to prove to the council that her children were not dangerous. Queen Thessara visited them each evening, bringing gifts and trying to make them feel welcome. She was learning English words too, practicing with them during dinner. How was your day? The Queen asked slowly in English, her accent thick but her effort genuine. Okay, Emma answered, though it was not really true. What none of them knew was that far above their world, 3 ships from Earth were traveling through space at incredible speeds. Earth had detected unusual energy signatures coming from the crash site in Montana 2 years ago. When government scientists investigated, they found evidence of alien technology and discovered that 2 children from the local area had vanished around the same time. Admiral Christine Harper commanded the lead ship. She was a stern woman in her 50s who had spent 30 years in the military. She sat in her command chair studying files about Emma and Jacob Martinez. 2 children, ages 6 and 4, disappeared from Montana exactly when the alien ship left Earth, she said to her second-in-command, Captain Ben Morrison. Their father died in what was officially called an accident. Their mother was never found. Now we detect these same alien energy signatures in a system nearly 1,000 light-years away. You think the aliens took them? Captain Morrison asked. I think we are about to find out, Admiral Harper replied. Ready all weapons. We approach with strength, not weakness. Captain Morrison frowned. He was younger than Harper and believed in diplomacy first.
Perhaps we should try talking before threatening.
We will talk, Harper agreed. But we will talk while showing them we are not helpless. If they took human children, they need to understand there are consequences. Also aboard the ships was Maya Chen, a teacher from Emma and Jacob's school in Montana. She had been brought along to identify the children if they were found. Maya sat in her small cabin looking at class photos from 2 years ago. Emma had been one of her brightest students, always asking questions. Jacob had been in preschool, shy but sweet. If they were alive out there, Maya would bring them home. Back on Celestara Prime, the trap was being set. Lord Karthus had hired assassins from outside the Empire, mercenaries who cared only about money. They smuggled weapons into the palace during a shipment of food and supplies. The plan was simple. Attack the children during their afternoon walk in the gardens. Make it look like they lost control of their powers and hurt people. Use that fear to turn the queen against them. Prince Theron knew about the plan but told himself he was not really involved. He was just protecting his future. His sister had been gone for 12 years. He had worked hard to prove himself worthy of the throne. Why should 2 human children take that away from him? The afternoon arrived warm and bright. Valara took Emma and Jacob to the palace gardens, accompanied by 4 guards. Lady Seraphine had secretly warned Valara to be careful, though she could not prove anything was planned. Valara stayed alert, watching everyone and everything. Emma held her brother's hand as they walked past flowers that sang soft music when touched. Jacob was fascinated by them, reaching out carefully to make them hum. Stay close to me, Valara reminded them in English. That was when the attack came. 3 assassins emerged from behind large trees, weapons raised. They wore masks and armor that reflected light, making them hard to see clearly. The palace guards reacted instantly, drawing their own weapons and moving to protect the royal family. Get the children out of here, the lead guard shouted, but the assassins were too fast. One of them fired an energy blast directly at Jacob. The boy was only 4 years old. He did not understand tactics or danger. He only knew something bad was coming toward him. Jacob threw up his hands instinctively, and something incredible happened. A shield of pure, golden light exploded outward from his body. It was not just a barrier. It was solid and powerful, expanding in all directions like a wave. The assassin's blast hit the shield and bounced back, striking the attacker and knocking him unconscious. The other 2 assassins fired at the shield, but their weapons did nothing. The golden light held firm. Emma felt her brother's fear and panic. Without thinking, she added her own power to his. Her empathic abilities connected with Jacob's protective instinct, and together they created something neither could do alone. The shield grew larger, covering not just themselves but their mother and all 4 guards. More than that, Emma's power made the shield do something new. Anyone who touched it felt overwhelming peace. The second assassin reached the barrier and suddenly could not remember why he was attacking. His anger drained away, replaced by confusion and calm. The third assassin was smarter. He ran. Palace guards flooded the garden within seconds. They arrested the unconscious attackers and began searching for others. Queen Thessera arrived running, her royal robes flying behind her. She found her daughter and grandchildren surrounded by golden light, completely unharmed. Jacob lowered his hands slowly, and the shield faded. He immediately started crying from exhaustion and fear. Valara scooped him up, checking him for injuries even though the shield had protected them all. "Are you hurt?" the queen demanded, switching between Zinthara and broken English in her panic. "We are fine, mother," Valara assured her. "The children protected us." "I saw it," one of the guards said, his voice filled with awe. "The small boy created a shield stronger than our military technology, and the girl made it spread peace. I felt it myself. My fear disappeared." Word spread through the palace within the hour. The children, who some called abominations, had just saved lives. They had used incredible power not to attack, but to protect and heal. Dr. Venn examined both children immediately. Jacob had fallen asleep from exhaustion, his small body unable to handle the energy he had channeled. Emma was awake but quiet, holding her mother's hand tightly. "This is unprecedented," Dr. Venn muttered, studying his readings. "The boy should not have been able to generate that much power. His body is too small, too young. It should have killed him." "But it did not," Lady Seraphine said. She had joined them in the medical wing. "Perhaps because he is both human and Zinthara. Perhaps each species balances the other, creating something greater than either alone." The queen stood over Jacob's sleeping form, watching his chest rise and fall. She looked ancient in that moment, weighted down by impossible decisions. "Lord Karthus will pay for this," she said quietly. "I want him arrested immediately." "We have no proof he ordered the attack," Commander Krell said reluctantly. "The assassins were unconscious or fled. They left no evidence." "Then we find proof," the queen snapped. "No one tries to murder my grandchildren and walks free." Emma spoke up suddenly, her voice small but clear. "It was not just him. There was another man, a younger voice. They talked in the garden 3 nights ago, about making us look dangerous." Valara knelt beside her daughter. "Are you certain?" Emma nodded. "I do not know who he was, but he sounded scared. The old man told him if we stayed, he would lose something important." The queen and Valara exchanged looks. They both understood who Emma was describing. Prince Theron. That night, the queen summoned her son to her private chambers. Valara was there too, standing beside her mother with arms crossed. "Were you involved in today's attack?" the queen asked directly. Prince Theron's face went pale. "I did not order anyone to attack children. I would never do that." "But you knew it was coming," Valara said. It was not a question. Theron could not meet their eyes. His silence was answer enough. "You are my son, and I love you," Queen Thessera said, her voice breaking slightly. "But you betrayed your own family. You put children in danger because you were afraid of losing power. That is not worthy of a prince." "I did not think they would really hurt them," Theron protested weakly. "I thought they would just scare them, make them seem dangerous so the council would send them away. I did not want them killed." "You chose politics over family," the queen said. "That is unforgivable." Before she could pronounce punishment, an alarm sounded throughout the palace. Commander Krell burst into the room without knocking. "Your Majesty, we have a situation. 3 unknown ships have entered our space. They are broadcasting in a language we do not recognize, but our computers are translating. They claim we have taken human children and are demanding their return. They say if we do not comply, they will consider it an act of war." The queen closed her eyes briefly. "Earth has come for them." Valara moved to the window and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, her adopted world was preparing to fight for 2 children. She should feel afraid. Instead, she felt something else. Hope. "Let me talk to them," she said. "Let me explain." "They have weapons charged," Commander Krell warned. "They are not in a talking mood." Emma appeared in the doorway, having snuck out of bed despite being told to rest. "Are people from Earth here?" she asked in English. Her mother nodded. "Do they want to take us home?" Emma's voice was small and confused. "Where is home now, Mama?" That was the question no one could answer. And as 2 fleets prepared to face each other across the void of space, 2 children stood in the middle, belonging fully to neither world, but needed by both. The palace conference room filled with tension as thick as smoke. Queen Thessara sat at the head of the table with military advisors on both sides. Valara stood near the window watching the night sky, knowing that somewhere beyond those stars, Earth ships were waiting. "They demand we surrender the children within 12 hours, Commander Krell reported. "They claim we kidnapped human citizens. They do not believe the children came willingly." "Because they do not know the truth," Valara said. "Let me broadcast a message to them. Let me show them I am alive and chose to bring my children here." Admiral Harper's face appeared on the large screen as the communication channel opened. She looked tired but determined, her gray uniform crisp and perfect despite the long journey through space. "I am Admiral Christine Harper of the Earth Defense Coalition. We are here to retrieve Emma and Jacob Martinez. Release them immediately or face military action." Queen Thessara stood, her presence commanding even through a video screen. "I am Queen Thessara of the Zinthara Empire. The children you seek are my grandchildren. They are here willingly with their mother, who is my daughter." Harper's expression did not change. "We have no evidence of that. For all we know, you are forcing this woman to cooperate." "Then let me speak," Valara interrupted, stepping into view of the camera. "Admiral Harper, my name is Valara. 12 years ago, my ship crashed in Montana. A man named Daniel Martinez found me. He helped me hide from your government agencies who would have imprisoned me for study. We fell in love. We married. We had 2 children. When Daniel died, Earth became dangerous for us. I brought my children to my home world where they would be safe." Admiral Harper leaned forward, studying Valara's face carefully. "If this is true, why did Daniel Martinez's death report say nothing about an alien wife?" "Because he protected me until his last breath," Valara answered, her voice breaking slightly. "He made sure all records showed only him and the children. He knew if your government found me, they would take me away from our family." Captain Ben Morrison appeared beside Harper on the screen. He looked more sympathetic than his commander. "We have a teacher here, Maya Chen, who knew the children. She says Emma and Jacob were happy, normal kids. If they are truly safe and happy where they are, perhaps we should verify that before making threats." "I want to see the children," Admiral Harper demanded. "Face to face, not through a screen where you could be using technology to trick us." Queen Thessara considered this. "You want to come to our world? That would require you to trust us." "No," Harper corrected. "It requires you to prove you are telling the truth. I will come alone, unarmed, to verify the children's well-being. If they are truly safe and want to stay, we will leave peacefully. If I find they are prisoners or in danger, my fleet will respond accordingly." It was a dangerous proposal. Allowing an Earth military commander onto Celestara Prime could be a trap. But refusing would make the Zinthara look guilty. "I have a counter-proposal," Valara said quickly. "You may send someone, but not you, Admiral. Send Maya Chen. The children know her. They will feel comfortable with her. Let them speak freely with someone they trust." Harper and Morrison conferred quietly off-screen. Finally, Harper nodded. "Agreed. But Dr. Helen Foster comes too. She is our chief medical officer and a pediatric specialist. I want her to examine the children and make sure they are healthy." "Acceptable," Queen Thessara agreed. "But they come unarmed and with minimal security." The arrangements were made quickly. A transport shuttle would bring Maya Chen and Dr. Helen Foster to the palace under armed escort from both sides. It would happen at dawn. That night, Emma could not sleep again. She sat in the dark room thinking about Miss Chen, her favorite teacher from school. She remembered painting pictures in class and reading stories about animals. She remembered feeling normal. Jacob was restless too, tossing in his bed. Since the attack in the garden, his powers seemed to activate randomly when he dreamed. Twice he had created small shields of light while sleeping, startling the guards outside their door. Valara came to their room and sat between their beds. "Miss Chen is coming tomorrow," she told them in English. "She wants to see you and make sure you are okay." "Can we go back to Earth with her?" Emma asked. Valara took a deep breath. "Do you want to go back?" Emma thought about it carefully. She missed Earth. She missed her house and her school and her friends. But she also understood that people there had been scared of them. Her father had spent years hiding the truth to keep them safe. "I do not know," Emma admitted. "I miss home, but I like grandmother. She is nice to us." "What about you, little one?" Valara asked Jacob. "I want to stay with you," Jacob said simply. "I do not care where we live if we are together." Valara pulled both children into a hug. "We will always be together. No matter what happens, that will never change." Dawn came with purple and gold lights spreading across the sky. The Earth shuttle landed in the palace courtyard, escorted by Zinthara fighters on all sides. The doors opened and two women stepped out. Maya Chen looked exactly as Emma remembered, with kind eyes and a warm smile. She wore simple clothes and carried no weapons. Beside her was Dr. Helen Foster, a woman in her 40s with red hair pulled back in a practical bun. Emma ran to Maya before anyone could stop her. "Miss Chen!" Maya knelt down and hugged the little girl tightly. "Oh, Emma, we were so worried about you. Are you okay? Are they treating you well?" "I am okay," Emma said. "It is strange here, but no one is mean to us." Jacob hung back shyly until Maya noticed him and held out her arms. He went to her slowly, still remembering his teacher even though he had been very small when they left Earth. Dr. Foster watched carefully, taking mental notes. The children looked healthy. Emma seemed confident and well-adjusted. Jacob was shy but not fearful. Neither showed signs of abuse or mistreatment. "I am Dr. Foster," she said gently. "Would it be okay if I did a quick checkup? Just to make sure you are both healthy?" Emma looked at her mother, who nodded encouragingly. The examination took place in a sunny room with Valara and Maya present. Dr. Foster was gentle and thorough, explaining everything she was doing. She checked their vital signs, looked at their eyes and ears, tested their reflexes. "They are healthy," she reported. "Actually, they seem healthier than most children their age. Strong bones, excellent muscle tone, no signs of illness or malnutrition." But then her scanner picked up something unusual. "Their genetic structure is fascinating," she muttered, studying the readings. "I am seeing both human and alien DNA sequences, but they are integrated in ways that should not be possible. How did this happen?" "Love," Valara said simply. "Love found a way." Dr. Foster looked up at her. "You really are their mother." "I really am." Maya sat with the children in the garden while the adults talked. She asked them questions about their life, their routine, their feelings. Emma answered honestly, explaining the good parts and the scary parts. She told Maya about the attack and how Jacob saved everyone. "So you have special abilities?" Maya asked carefully. "I guess so," Emma said. "I can feel what people are feeling, and Jacob can make shields and heal people when they are hurt." "Are you scared of these powers?" Emma thought about it. "Sometimes, but Mama says being special is not the same as being weird. She says we are extraordinary." Maya smiled. "Your mama is right." While they talked, Dr. Foster was examining the medical records from the Zinthara physicians. She compared them with her own scans and made a discovery that changed everything. "There is a problem," she announced to Queen Thesara and Valara. "Jacob's human biology is starting to reject his Zinthara abilities. Every time he uses his powers, it puts enormous strain on his body. The attack 3 days ago nearly killed him. His cells are breaking down at a microscopic level." Valara felt her world tilt. "What does that mean?" "It means if he keeps using his powers, his body will eventually give out. He might have months, maybe a year, but without treatment, these abilities will kill him." "Can you help him?" Queen Thesara demanded. Dr. Foster shook her head slowly. "This is beyond anything Earth medicine has encountered. But maybe together, combining Earth and Zinthara medical knowledge, we could find a solution. I would need access to your research facilities and permission to work with your doctors." It was Commander Krell who saw the opportunity. "This could be the beginning of cooperation between our species, sharing knowledge to save a child. Or it could be a trick to steal our technology," Lord Karthus said. He had been released from custody due to lack of evidence, though everyone suspected his involvement in the assassination attempt. Dr. Foster looked directly at him. "I am a doctor. My job is saving lives, not stealing secrets. If you let politics kill this boy when we could save him, you are the real monster here." Her words hung in the air like a challenge. Queen Thessara made her decision. "Dr. Foster will work with our medical team. We will save my grandson together." But that night, as Dr. Foster and Dr. Venn began studying Jacob's condition, something unexpected happened. Emma was sitting with her brother, holding his hand and trying to comfort him. She was thinking about her father, wishing desperately that he was there to tell them everything would be okay. And suddenly, he was. Daniel Martinez appeared in the room, looking exactly as he had in life. He smiled at his children with so much love it seemed to fill the space. "Dad?" Emma whispered. "Hello, little star," Daniel said in a voice only they could hear. Jacob sat up in bed, staring. "Daddy?" Dr. Foster's instruments went wild with readings. Energy levels spiked throughout the room. She ran to get Valara while Daniel knelt beside his children's beds. "I am not really here," he told them gently. "I am a memory, a piece of me that lives in both of you. But right now you need me, so here I am." "I miss you so much," Emma sobbed. "I know, sweetheart, I miss you too. But you have to be brave now, both of you. You have something important to do, something that will change everything. Can you be brave for me?" Both children nodded through their tears. When Valara burst into the room, she stopped breathing. There was her husband, the man she loved, somehow impossibly present. "Daniel," she whispered. He turned to her and smiled. "Hello, my love. Take care of our children. Help them be the bridge between worlds. That is what they were always meant to be." And then he began to fade, his form becoming transparent like smoke in the wind. Dr. Foster stared at the readings on her instruments with disbelief. The energy that had filled the room moments ago was unlike anything science could explain. She looked at Valara, who was crying silently, and at the two children who seemed calmer than they had been in days. "What just happened?" Dr. Foster asked quietly. "My husband appeared to our children," Valara said, her voice steady despite the tears. "I know how that sounds, but I saw him too. I recorded energy readings consistent with a psychic manifestation," Dr. Foster said slowly. "But that should not be possible. Dead people do not just appear because children miss them." Dr. Venn arrived and reviewed the data. His eyes grew wide. "Unless the children created him, Emma is an empath, Jacob is a healer. Together they might have accessed genetic memories of their father and given those memories form. It would explain why he appeared when they needed him most." Over the next week, Dr. Foster and Dr. Venn worked side by side to save Jacob's life. They discovered that his human cells and Zinthara cells were fighting each other like two armies in the same body. The solution required a delicate genetic treatment that would help both sides work together instead of competing. Maya Chen stayed at the palace during this time, teaching Emma and Jacob their regular school lessons. She brought a sense of normalcy to their chaotic lives. Other children from noble families were allowed to join the lessons, and slowly, friendships began to form. A young Zinthara girl named Lissa became Emma's first real friend on Celestara Prime. She did not care that Emma was half-human. She just thought Emma's ability to sense feelings was amazing. "Can you tell what I'm feeling right now?" Lissa asked one afternoon in the garden. Emma concentrated. "You are happy, but also a little bit nervous. You want to ask me something but are scared I will say no." Lissa grinned. "Will you teach me some English words? I want to learn your language." Emma's face lit up. "Really? You want to learn?" "Of course. You are learning our language. It is only fair." Meanwhile, tensions between Earth and Zinthara were slowly easing. Admiral Harper remained in orbit with her fleet, but Captain Morrison came down to the planet several times for diplomatic talks. He met with Queen Thessara and was impressed by the Zinthara civilization. "We could learn much from each other," he told the Queen during one meeting. "Earth has medical technology that could help your people. You have energy systems that could solve our power problems. But more than that, We could learn to see the universe as bigger than our own small worlds. There are those on my council who fear change, Queen Thesara admitted. They believe contact with other species will weaken us. We have the same fear on Earth, Morrison said. But those two children are proof that different species can create something beautiful together. They are the best argument for cooperation I have ever seen. The treatment for Jacob began on a quiet morning. He lay on a medical table while machines hummed around him. Emma held his hand, using her abilities to keep him calm. Valara stood nearby, terrified but trying to stay strong. Dr. Foster and Dr. Venn worked together, combining human gene therapy with Zinthara cellular modification. The procedure took 6 hours. Twice, Jacob's vital signs became unstable, and they had to pause. But each time, Emma squeezed her brother's hand, and somehow he stabilized. Finally, it was done. His cells are accepting the changes, Dr. Venn announced. The human and Zinthara DNA are starting to work together instead of fighting. He should make a full recovery. Valara collapsed into a chair with relief. Emma climbed onto the table and hugged her sleeping brother carefully. "You did it," Dr. Foster said to her Zinthara colleague. "We did it together." "This is just the beginning," Dr. Venn replied. "Imagine what else we could accomplish if our species worked together regularly." 3 days later, Jacob woke up feeling better than he had in months. The constant tiredness was gone. His powers were still there, but they no longer hurt him when he used them. Emma tested this by asking him to make a small shield, and he did so easily without any pain. "I feel strong," Jacob said in wonder. News of the successful treatment spread quickly. It became a symbol of what cooperation between species could achieve. The story reached other alien civilizations who had been watching events on Celestara Prime with great interest. Ships began arriving from a dozen different worlds. Representatives of species the humans had never imagined came to witness the miracle children who had brought two worlds together. An ambassador from a species called the Vorath, who looked like tall beings made of crystal, addressed the gathering. "We have watched humanity from afar for centuries, waiting to see if you would destroy yourselves or reach for the stars. These children prove you are capable of growth and unity. We welcome you to the greater galactic community." Earth sent more diplomats and scientists. Trade agreements were discussed. Cultural exchange programs were proposed. And at the center of it all were Emma and Jacob, just two kids who wanted their family to be together. But not everyone was happy with these changes. Lord Karthus and a small group of traditionalists grew more desperate. They saw the old ways disappearing and feared for their future. In a final act of desperation, they planned one more attack. This time, Prince Theron learned of the plan and did something that surprised everyone. He went to his mother and confessed everything. He told her about Lord Karthus's network of supporters and their plan to sabotage the diplomatic meetings. "Why are you telling me this?" Queen Thesara asked her son. "Because I was wrong," Theron said quietly. "I let fear make me cruel. I nearly got children killed because I was afraid of losing power. But power means nothing if you lose your soul gaining it. Those children are my family, and family should protect each other." The plot was stopped before it could happen. Lord Karthus was arrested along with his conspirators. They would face trial for their crimes. Queen Thesara stood before her council and made an announcement that would change the Empire forever. "We are entering a new age. An age where we reach out instead of hiding. An age where we learn from other species instead of fearing them. And we do this because two small children showed us the way." She gestured to Emma and Jacob, who stood with their mother. "These are my grandchildren. They are both human and Zinthara. They are proof that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. From this day forward, hybrid children born of any species combination will be celebrated as gifts, not feared as problems." The chamber erupted in applause, though not everyone was happy. Change never pleased everyone. But the majority saw wisdom in the Queen's words. 5 years passed like water flowing through time. Emma was now 11 years old, tall and confident. She studied diplomacy and language, preparing to become a bridge between species. She could speak 8 languages fluently and could sense emotions from almost any intelligent being. She used this gift to help resolve conflicts and misunderstandings. Jacob was 9, quieter than his sister but no less important. He studied medicine with both human and alien teachers. His healing abilities had grown stronger but controlled. He could repair injuries, cure diseases, and even help people suffering from mental trauma by healing old emotional wounds. They were not the only hybrid children anymore. In 5 years, dozens of families had formed across species lines. Human scientists married Zinthara researchers. Vorath artists fell in love with Earth musicians. Children of mixed heritage were being born on worlds throughout the galaxy. The first Interstellar Council met on a neutral space station. Representatives from 20 different species gathered to discuss cooperation, trade, and peace. Emma and Jacob were invited as special guests, the children who had started it all. Emma stood at the podium, looking out at beings of all shapes and sizes. Some had fur, some had scales, some were made of energy, but all of them were intelligent, and all of them were trying to build something better. 5 years ago, my brother and I were just kids who missed our dad, Emma said, her voice carried to every translation device in the hall. We did not mean to change the galaxy, we just wanted our family to be together. But sometimes, the smallest acts of love create the biggest changes. She paused, gathering her thoughts. My father was human. My mother is Zinthara. I am both, and I am neither. I am something new. We all are. Every person in this room who chooses to reach across the divide and connect with someone different is creating something new, something better. Jacob stepped forward and added his own words in a quiet voice that somehow reached everyone. My sister and I can do special things. We can heal and sense feelings and protect people. But the most important thing we learned is simple. Love is stronger than fear. Connection is stronger than division. And family is not about where you come from, but about who you choose to stand beside. The applause that followed shook the station. That night, Emma and Jacob stood in an observation deck, looking out at the stars. Their mother joined them, putting an arm around each child. Your father would be so proud, Valara whispered. He is proud, Emma said with certainty. I can feel it sometimes, like he is still watching over us. In her pocket, Valara carried an old photograph. Daniel standing with his arms around her, both of them laughing, young and in love, and unaware that their choice to be together would reshape the galaxy. She looked at that photo now and smiled through tears. We did it, my love. Our children changed everything. Somewhere in the vastness of space, on a small planet called Earth, a memorial stood in Montana. It honored Daniel Martinez, a man who had loved an alien woman and raised children who became heroes. People visited it from all over Earth and beyond, leaving flowers and notes of thanks. The inscription read simply, "He showed us that love knows no boundaries, and that courage sometimes means protecting the ones you love in silence." Emma and Jacob would visit that memorial someday soon. They would tell their father's stone all about the universe he had helped create by choosing love over fear. But tonight, they stood with their mother and their grandmother, surrounded by friends from a dozen worlds, and they knew they were exactly where they belonged. Home was not a place. It was the people you loved and who loved you back. And their home now stretched across the stars, filled with beings who had learned the same lesson 2 children had carried from Earth to Celestara Prime and beyond. That different was not dangerous. Different was beautiful. And together, they could build a future worthy of the sacrifice made by one human father who had loved his family enough to change the galaxy.